morning, it's September 5th. This is To My Liberal Friends. Well, everyone in the political world is now looking at the 2026 midterm elections. History tells us that the party holding the White House will lose seats in Congress. And normally I would agree with this prediction, but I would caveat by saying that the current president is not the norm in any way, shape, or form. Trump keeps winning politically, and that confounds the liberals and political pundits. Trump wins because he's not merely a politician, he's a phenomenon, a paradigm. He's transformational, resolved, relentless, reckless, focused, unafraid, undeterred, and unrepentant. He is a master of the media, surrounded by committed servants who embrace his messages and methods. Have you ever seen any president answer as many questions sitting at the Oval Office desk than Trump does? Can you imagine Joe Biden doing that? Because of Trump, it's difficult to say with any certainty that Republicans will lose in the midterms. But I will also say that because of Trump, they could lose a lot of seats. He's that controversial, and he has committed followers as well as equally committed opponents. Republicans have received good news in recent months about next year's midterms. They're raising more money than Democrats. The Senate map favors the GOP. There are 13 Democratic representatives in districts that Donald Trump carried, and only 3 Republicans in districts that Kamala Harris carried. And Governor Greg Abbott signed a mid-decade congressional redistricting plan that could produce 3 to 5 GOP pickup in Texas. California is going to try to combat that, and we hear that Maryland may redistrict, but they only got 1 Republican, so I don't know how much more you can do. A new study from L2, a nonpartisan data firm, analyzed the 30 states that register voters by party. It shows fewer registered Democrats in all 30 states and more Republicans in 22 than there were in the election day 2020. In 8 states, both parties' registration totals declined, but Republicans dropped less than Democrats. The combined swing to the GOP in all 30 states was 4.5 million voters. The question now is, will you get those voters out to the polls? Another phenomenon out there is the growing number of voters that don't affiliate with either party. Let's take North Carolina, a presidential battleground, and a key Senate race next year. Since the 2020 election, the number of Democratic registrations has dropped 310,000 to 2,300,000. While Republican registrations grew 65,000 to 2.296. So they're right there even with them. But the number of unaffiliated voters today is 2.9 million, up from 461,000 in 5 years. Neither party can win North Carolina merely by maximizing turnout among its base. The victor needs a substantial share of unaffiliated voters as well, and it's hard to predict where they're going to fall. The focus on independence is even more important for Republicans in Maine's high-profile Senate race. There were 357,000 registered Democrats in 2024. Republican registration were 310,000, trailed by 309,000 unaffiliated voters. The GOP can hold on to its only New England Senate seat by doing extremely well with independents and soft Democrats, and incumbent Susan Collins has a track record of doing that. The other 28 states in the study show a similar pattern. Republicans up, Democrats down. And unaffiliated or independent registrations either up or in a few cases not declining as fast as the major parties. It's reasonable to assume there's a similar pattern in the 20 states that don't register by party. The election will also hinge on how each party fares with independents, and that's not a real surprise. The quality of each party's candidate and how voters perceive them will also be important. Even marquee candidates with glowing resumes can turn out to be duds on the campaign trail. It's too soon to make confident judgments about each party's stable candidates, especially the neophytes. The major issue that is always on the mind of the voters is the economy. I believe it will once again be the dominant issue. A Wall Street Journal poll shows that voters are not confident right now about their own financial circumstances. This will be crucial to the party in power because the opposition will hammer away that voters need to make a change. Trump made a lot of promises on the economy, and he and the Republican Congress will have to deliver so that they see positive results when they're at the grocery store, when they're at the gas pump, and when they look at their savings and retirement accounts. The jobs report for August came out this morning, and it was fairly flat. About 22,000 jobs were added. But I would caution about reading too much into this report. For the past 3 years, the majority of jobs being created were in government, healthcare, and leisure. Construction and manufacture have been the sectors that are lagging. But these 2 sectors are more dependent on interest rates than the others. Housing starts have been slow, and that means all the goods that are needed to fill a new house are either not being manufactured or purchased. If Powell wants to help the economy, I think he should reduce interest rates by 50 basis points instead of the expected 25 basis points. That might jumpstart those sectors of the economy. More importantly, the report also indicated that wages are rising faster than inflation, and that's a good thing for the consumer. But someone needs to get that message out. But if Republicans are going to be successful next year, they need to get out and do a better job of explaining the tax bill they passed. It's a huge middle class bill filled with benefits to the middle class. Unless you do that, all bets are off on next year's elections and history might prevail. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.